folks, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at the publisher's best, and today we're taking a look at Huch and Friends. Now, this is a company, many of their games have been brought over to America by different companies as time has gone by, or they've been picked up and republished, or they picked up and republished other people's games. It can be a little confusing sometimes with this, the different companies in America and over in Europe, but they do have some very intriguing games. So we're starting with number 10, Talat. This is a 3-player abstract strategy game in which you are playing on a board against each of the other players. But if I'm moving a piece on this board, I'm not really going up against you. It has different towers of different levels. It's not amazing, but it's certainly interesting having the 3-way abstract strategy game. Number 9 is Kaboom. This one's a silly style game where you are going to be using a catapult and throwing things onto a board. Thus, the Kaboom. This one actually was reprinted just, I think, last year. But the whole concept of catapulting pieces across a room is one that I enjoy. Number 8 is Think Straight. Now, let me be clear. Think Straight would actually be like in the top 3 if the components were anything to write home about. Unfortunately, the components are horrible, but this is a great abstract strategy game. Not deduction game. It's easy for me to say abstract strategy since so many of their games are abstract strategy. But a great deduction game, one of the best I've ever played, where you're trying to figure out what's in front of you and asking questions. Really good, just paper-thin components. Number 7 is Ohm. This was picked up by R&R Games. This is where your boats are going down a river, and you are utilizing this tile shifting mechanism where you're moving different tiles to take different actions. It's purely mechanical, but I like it, and I like the idea of using this little mosaic of tiles to then take actions and build different spots on the board. Really cool game. Number 6 is Terra. Terra, I didn't put Fauna on my list. I put Terra on my list. Both are very similar. Fauna and Terra are both, you are basically playing a trivia game. With Fauna, it's about animals. With Terra, it's about all sorts of things. And it might be like, where are the pyramids located? Well, I know that. Or like, how tall are the pyramids? But many times you don't know what the answer to the question is, so you're guessing. You're putting a cube on a map, or you're guessing how tall something is, and you get points for being close. So if you're like, I'm pretty sure that Rihanna knows the answer, I'm going to put it right next to hers. So that's Terra. Number 5 is Inhabit the Earth. Now this one was originally from R&D Games, Richard Brees, but I really, really enjoy this game. It is a kind of an evolution style game where you're going to have these different animals and you're trying to make them grow and control all over the place by kind of evolving them and getting points in different continents. This game was very underrated. Very few people played it or talked about it, but I enjoyed it. Number 4. Oh boy. Okay, well, these were originally not published by Huch and Friends, but they have been now, so I'm giving it to them. Number 4 is Devon. There's a lot of great 2-player abstract games, and especially in the Gift series. Devon is one of my favorite, where you're moving pieces. I still remember the first time I played it, I was like, this is not that impressive. But the more I played it, the more I liked it. And just the initial setup, I still think you should just play with a random setup. But after that, as the board gets smaller and more constricted, it gets really intriguing. Number 3, also from that same series, Czar. Z just taught this one to me before, where you're trying to get different pieces on top of each other and capture opponents' pieces and move around the board, and you're watching different you want to get a whole bunch of pieces of one kind, so you can go for the easy win but also the most obvious win. Just some really interesting back and forth. By the way, both of these have great components. Number 2 is not from the Gift series, but it's also an abstract strategy game, and that is Kamisato Max. Now, Kamisato from Burley Games, Huch and Friends made a Kamisato Max, which was, you could still play the original Kamisato, an 8x8, but they made a 10x10 board. Really big pieces, and essentially on your turn, you can move a piece as far as you want, forward or diagonally forward, and the color you land on is the color piece your opponent then moves. If you get a piece into your opponent's back line, you win. Very simple, very quick endings. You control what your opponent does, but they control what you do. Very interesting back and forth, and you can play sets of games if you want to. Kamisato Max. And then my favorite game from Huch and Friends is back to the Gift series, and that is Yinch. I love Yinch. love getting 5 in a row, love moving the rings around the board. You're going to be moving them, jumping over pieces. And when you jump over pieces, you change the white pieces to black, the black ones to white, which could help you out depending on what color you are. So it's kind of like a mix of Othello and 5 in a row, but it is smooth, it is easy, easily my favorite from that series. Those are my favorite games from Huch and Friends. Let me know yours in the comments below. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel. This has been Best of Publishers, Huch.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.